there's this theory called consumption subcultures, right? I need to know what is my consumption subculture. And like Nika is very much focused into extreme affluent females, right? And then if you look at Grow, it's extremely, fintech savvy people who want to invest and but who are not really comfortable with investing. So you need to understand what is your consumption subculture, and then bring the right kind of influencers. Nano influencers, I would say, is much more important because the increasing shift of Gen Z, who are increasing population, and the future shoppers, as we say, they do not believe so much in celebrities. They have a very opinionated sense of voice, what they want, and they question and scrutinize everything. So you right now on Instagram and TikTok, you can see a de-influencing trends. People who are talking about that disinfluencers, not saying the right things. They don't, blindly follow. Status quo. Everybody would have a Swiggy, Zomato, even if they're not ordering from it. But not everyone would have e-commerce apps. So how do you create that need is first by getting them hooked on, addicted to the content.
Hi everyone, welcome to Kofluence Unplugged. I'm your host Aritra. Now today we are diving into all things influencer marketing and the e-commerce industry. Yes. And joining me today we have a very special guest with us. She is a seasoned growth marketer and is currently working in one of India's top e-commerce platforms, Flipkart. With over a decade of experience in crafting unique GTM strategies, specializing in the digital platforms, more so in terms of acquisition, performance marketing, paid socials, TV ads, and so much more. Now, I'm really excited to have her today, and I cannot wait to get this conversation started. So, without any further ado, please join me in welcoming Shivani. Hi, Shivani, how are you doing?
Hi, Aritra. I'm very well. Thank you for inviting me today.
Definitely. I think before we start, it would be great if you can tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, how you got to this entire industry, what's been your career trajectory like, and all of
Sure.
that.
Welcome, viewers. Welcome to the Kofluence Unplugged podcast. This is Shivani. I've spent around 12 years plus in this industry, and I started my career as a media planner. I was doing offline media planning with Madison, post which I moved to digital strategy and consumer insights with Maxis. Into around 2016 is when I co-founded, and I was one of the founding members of a startup in data called Kalagato. So I dabbled in that for a year, but then I realized that probably I need to go back to the industry and understand marketing, how CMOs think, how the leadership thinks, and which was very important to me and for anyone to achieve sort of success in this in this industry as well. That's when I joined YouTube, where I was a part of the GTM strategy and brand solutions team. And having completed different areas of marketing, I think Flipkart is the place where I've come on to completion of my entire marketing career, where everything has come into place together, where I've worked for the last 5 years. I've been with Flipkart. I'm leading the currently the brand marketing piece for all of the verticals at Flipkart, including mobiles, technology, fashion, beauty. And I'm super excited to speak to the Kofluence team today and share my learnings and also learn a lot from you today.
Definitely. And I think with your experience in the e-commerce industry as well, I mean, there's a lot of things that the viewers will probably learn from this episode. So let's dive straight in. When we talk about e-commerce, right, what we saw was there was a huge rise in smartphones. And also there was an increased internet penetration throughout the country in recent years. With that, there has been an increase in mobile commerce within the e-commerce space, right?
Yeah.
Now it's very easy for users to shop online. It's all, on the go currently. So with that in mind, how do you think, given that a substantial portion of e-commerce transactions happen over the mobile phones,
Yeah.
how do you think influencer marketing can actually connect brand marketers to potential customers who spend most of their time online, who are shopping on their phones? How do you think they can connect both these dots?
So essentially, India is very unique. We have had a very unique behavior where we were the generation which skipped PCs and laptops. So majority of India with Jio's disruption around 2016 has seen internet directly coming onto the mobile phones at the tip of the fingers, and that's when I was in YouTube actually grew from 80 million to 20 million base as well. So India is a mobile first generation, and majority of Indians today know mobile first behavior. as brand marketers, what we need to understand and ensure is that everything that we do is platform first and user focused. So I would like to sort of summarize this into a piece of four C's. Like, one, you need to create a very catchy content, because when you're trying to speak to users, say in vernacular languages, because tier 2 and tier 1 cities become a very important part. India is not just Bharat. India is not just, the metro consumers. You have to talk to both of these consumers, both the affluent and as well as the up and coming. So vernacular users, so when you're talking to them in regional languages, content has to be catchy. If you're talking to, say, south, you need to talk about their festivals. If you're talking to north, you need to talk about their languages. And second is how you make it far more credible. Credibility again comes from being relatable to these users. So maybe an Alia Bhatt can be credible for a certain, Hindi market, but for the regional market, I again need an influencer from the regional space, whether it is, say, Rashmika Mandan or anybody from the regional space. So as a brand, it's very important that I bring on faces, I bring on voices that speak to these consumers and speak about them. Credibility can also come from nuances. It's not important that it's just a face of a celebrity, but you embed local nuances. Like if you're talking about Adi in South, or you're talking about Pongal in Kerala, Onam in Kerala, sorry, and you're talking about Pongal in Tamil Nadu. So you're talking about different festivals in different spaces, and that's where we as a brand have a job to be done. We are trying to solve for a customer need. Third is, how do you help for convenience? So how do I become a product that is solving for a customer's problem? And influencer marketing has to be convenience. Like, you can't be just talking randomly about, I need to sell this phone to the customer, and reels where there's just content. You need to be solving for the user's problem. So how can, say, Flipkart, or how can Myntra, or any brand like an Amazon actually solve for the problem of the user? That is most important. And Flipkart has been very up and coming in terms of cash on delivery, no cost EMI. So we've created a lot of constructs where users could actually benefit. And influencer marketing has been a big way for us to communicate this to the user, whether it is open box delivery in mobile phones, whether it is free shipping on certain products. And the last would be, how do we actually make things much more personalized and more personalized, both in terms of what the user wants. So this is mainly done on the app through machine learning, and that's where live commerce and social commerce come up. And then of course you have personalized recommendations, and you're talking to the users, again, language nuances, that plays an important role.
Yeah, I think with so many new features coming on, like as you mentioned, personal recommendations, there is in-app purchases, there are constant push notifications. With all of that, I feel like the customers are really stimulated throughout their throughout the day. They are always, I mean, brands are always at the top of the mind recall currently, and that is where mobile commerce has been a big boon for the e-commerce sector, especially in terms of influencer marketing, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think tell me if you agree or not, but what we have also seen is the customer buying journey has significantly reduced now, right? You don't have to go to a retail outlet, wait there, see through multiple options, try different outlets, and then come to a decision. Now you can just scroll online and find products that you want to buy, maybe compare, go to a website, and then all of that is taken care of in a very short span of time. You don't even have to do all of that. Sometimes you just go, click, payment done,
Definitely.
ready. So the entire customer buying journey has shortened a lot. Do you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with this, because see, social networks are the future storefronts where people are going to buy. India has still not come to that place. If you look at China and America, respectively, they're at 31% and 10% e-commerce penetration. India, including all of the e-commerce leading players, is approximately 7%. So we're quite behind. But we are almost at a scale of 140 crore people. So as our per capita GDP increases, along with this shift in mobile consumption, social media consumption, our overall purchase behavior is definitely going to change. Currently, we're seeing it in forms of content consumption on mobiles, but in terms of how much will they spend, that eventually is going to happen in the next decade. In terms of shortening, definitely social media has accelerated the awareness, interest, the desire and action journey. Like, initially the customer would actually read about, like, aap you would see something about a brand on television, and then probably after 6 4 days or maybe after a month you would buy, and that's where the attribution problem comes in. But nowadays you talk about something, you are retargeted with ads, or you express an interest, you see search query audience ads. There's so many types of ads because you've interacted with a certain kind of content. So hence you really do not need to, as a marketer or as a brand, I see the purchase journey is shortened, but I'm also seeing that the quality of retention is becoming tougher. Because in the ages of say Unilever and in the FMCG mindset, if I look at it, or you built consumer loyalty and those rich ecosystems over a longer period of time. That took years, 20 years, 15 years to build that dag achhe hai. Today any of these brands, e-commerce brands, are not really synonymous with a certain proposition. Everybody thinks that they are for deals, they are for discounts. So definitely, while a person is buying, where they are buying from is not a very consistent. I will still, when it comes to detergents, or when it comes to say Colgate is like the toothpaste that everyone buys. So those kind of consistencies are maintained in FMCG, which are yet to translate into e-commerce. And I think all industry players, most of us, are working on ensuring how do we use this accelerated customer journey to build qualified and meaningful experiences.
Right, right. Definitely. Now, talking about influencers, especially in the e-commerce industry, what do you think most brands prefer working with in terms of influencer category, in terms of influencer genre? What's the go-to influencer type like, or is there a specific type in the first place?
There's no specific type as such, I would say. Depends on what we are talking about. Say, for example, Nykaa is a very boutique, very niche in terms of their offerings. So they would go for a very different kind of influencers. So looking at the ambassador like Janvi Kapoor as well, you need to understand who is like this. There's this theory called consumption subcultures, right? I need to know what is my consumption subculture. If say Flipkart or Myntra or Shopsy or every single brand like Nykaa is very much focused into extreme affluent females, right? Or extremely affluent, now even Nykaa man is there. And then if you look at Grow, it's extremely fintech savvy people who want to invest, and but who are not really comfortable with investing. So you need to understand what is your consumption subculture, and then bring the right kind of influencers. And influence is a very abused term in the industry right at this page. I would say for me, when we look at key opinion leaders, like who are these people who Gen Z and the younger later millennials, they are actually looking to internet for inspiration. For them it's a space where every time, what happened in our parents' time, they would actually call somebody, or otherwise there used to be those blue antardeshi where you would actually write letters and then interact. That was a social network. Today we have one-to-one communications through WhatsApp, then we have one-to-many through Telegram, broadcast channels, or then you have LinkedIn, Twitter, or even Instagram, where it's many to many. So you need to understand what is the equation that's playing for your particular consumer. So right now, like I'm launching a loan product, for there I need to go one-to-one, because you need to understand and educate also. So you need to start defining what is my job to be done. If it's education, you need to go for an influencer that holds that domain expertise.
Right.
So when you're creating, like when we started category education about beauty, like our platform is a platform of trust where we sell authentic products. There we needed people like Komal Pandey, or we would need people who are associated with not just domain expertise, but who are sort of ambassadors in their own sense, who have created subcultures and who have created cult following. But when it is for a very, very, I would say, instant purchase, like BBD sale hai, or if there's something that's very, very instant, very short term, there you could go for, say, macro influencers, or you could go for a bulk of combinations. Futuristically, I would say there is no standard formula. Depends on the budget, depends on the brand, and also the model. Like, is it a cost per sale model that you're going for? Then any kind of influencer will work. And if it is a model where you're paying just for content, there definitely domain expertise matters.
Right, right. And as you mentioned, there is a big boon in micro creators and even local and niche influencers currently. With that, do you think celebrity endorsements are really that relevant anymore? Because that's been the narrative for some time now, that celebrity endorsements are dead. They don't bring in as much engagement as, say, a micro influencer would bring to the table. Do you agree with that, or do you think there should be a healthy mix of both these fronts?
Again, I would say these are serving two different problems. Celebrity endorsements are still critical in India specifically, but it depends. Like for Dyson, with their Coanda effect, they really don't need a celebrity endorsement. And their influencer strategy till now in India was that we have a special technology. They gave and distributed free products to all the leading fashion and lifestyle influencers in the beauty space who actually showed the experience in action. They were never discount codes. They never talked about, I am at the store and come and buy from me. It was pure play experience in action. So there are brands in that space. There is Dyson, there is Kohler, there's Emirates who are only talking about experience in action. So you still need, long term sustained associations. Celebrities are relevant for aspirational brands because aspiration is talking to tier 2 people, is talking to people who are just transitioning from rural to urban. So those people are still living a dream.
Yeah.
And for them it is important to see that the dress that I am wearing is worn by Alia Bhatt, or I can look like her. That's the consumer insight. That's why you bring celebrities for brands like Lux, for a lot of these brands. And we are also playing in the space where we want to connect and democratize access. So when you're creating a very democratizing access for opportunities, whether it's affordability, and we are affordable value brand. So for us it is important to create content through celebrities and having a celebrity face. But then there are brands who are very very strong in terms of their USPs of products. I would say, I wouldn't say this is not relevant for e-commerce. E-commerce needs celebrities mostly. But when you look at products like Bose, when you look at products like JBL, probably they do not need celebrities, unless of course increasing competition in the category also forces celebrities. So nano influencers, I would say, is much more important because the increasing shift of Gen Zs, who are increasing population, and the future shoppers, as we say, they do not believe so much in celebrities. They have a very opinionated sense of voice, what they want, and they question and scrutinize everything. So right now on Instagram and TikTok, you can see a de-influencing trends. People who are talking about that disinfluencers, not saying the right things. They don't, blindly follow status quo. So from that perspective, for Gen Zs, nano influencers and micro communities actually act as a very strong influence because they believe in values and they actually want to connect while talking to somebody. So probably if you create like a meetup community in Bangalore and you go and meet them, you've seen them in action, because this is also the post pandemic generation. They've passed colleges, universities, so they do not believe so much in virtual, but their small communities and nano influencer connect is much stronger. So I think every top celebrities and nano will hold relevance depending on the segment we are speaking to. Like for Australian Open, I will not take nano influencers. I would still want a Shah Rukh Khan or a Deepika Padukone, someone of that stature, because you're speaking to a very different audience.
Also, in terms of e-commerce, what we see is a lot of e-commerce brands and platforms have an array of product offerings. They have product portfolios, different segments that they cater to, so many frequent launches happening, seasons and all of that, right?
Yeah.
So how do you think their brand marketers like yourself, how do you actually strategize your influencer marketing partnerships and collaborations, keeping these different use cases in mind?
Okay, so here there's a major difference between the tech purchases and non-tech purchases. So mobiles, electronics, most of these, mostly the user has set in their mind that I need to buy, say, an Apple Watch versus a Garmin watch, and there you're researching. So our support to the user in terms of embedding our influences is mostly in the pre-purchase journey, but the product is very clear in the mind. These are the top 5 products I need to buy. So mostly here we look at unboxing videos that we work with most of the top influencers. And here I would say it's the role of nano influencers and top, absolute top like Geeky, Ranjit and all is both important, because it's a high value purchase. I'm spending like a 50K on a mobile phone or a 20K on a watch. So here it is important both in terms of visual content, written reviews, vertical, all formats. Tech is very very important, and we do invest a lot, mostly during the festive season, because in India mostly people invest heavy purchases during Diwali and post Independence Day till the window of October. That's where we spend the most. Also it's a function of where the category is leading. If the regulations are changing and we instantly want say ACs to sell or something like that. So that bit is mostly instant sale is always taken care by affiliate partnerships, which is also influencers, but there you're focusing more on offers or links or affiliate links. But long term, if I want more and more people to think that Apple is the Flipkart is the place or destination to buy Apple products, for that I would need a long term association with not nano influencers and top influencers. Also, customer does not really, when it comes to, say, let's take example of just mobile phones as a category, for an end user there's not much difference between Qualcomm processor or a Snapdragon or this or that. Most of the people just want to know picture quality kiska better hai, so they are only looking at very very specifics. So enabling that both through on app reviews, and that's what we are covering a lot in Flipkart live commerce also. And this is across the board, I would say that when we are even sharing briefs with our influencer agencies, we always try to ensure that we are enabling our users to buy better, to make the right choices for themselves, along with knowing that what will be the end price, which we call the net effective price, like what card constructs, like kahan pe card pe offer hai, what kind of EMIs you can apply, all of those things. And if there is an exchange, like exchanges come up as a big thing in mobile phone. Now when I talk about non-tech, there's a lot of cognitive overload. Like there are thousands of dresses, so if you want to buy, say, lehenga for a wedding, then there's like thousands, not even thousands, like it runs in millions. The catalog itself is huge. So there I am not going, and it's also an unorganized industry, because there, of course, there are few brands like Libas and Liva and Janasya, this and that, but there are also majority users who are going for the style. Unless it's a Birkenstocks or a Nike, you are going for the style, you're not going so much for what the brand stands for. So in that case, you want to help them enjoy and reduce the burden. So here, when you are working with influencers, I want to help them enable my users buy better, but also have less stress of buying. So creating series of shopping halls, get ready with me, look of shadi look, this look, shadi look, mehendi look. So for recently in January, for wedding season, we created multiple looks and enabled people to go through the catalog in a much easier way. And also replicated the same with our influencer partners as well. So that, I would say, is the major difference. And then again, in categories like finance, I think they're very sensitive categories, so we've still not gotten into influencers there.
So as you mentioned about live commerce, I mean, live commerce is definitely rising in e-commerce. For those who may not be aware as to what live commerce is, it's basically the integration of social media platforms with your different e-commerce journey, be it promotion, discovery, purchase, all of that. Now users can basically purchase products from their social media handles. They do not even have to visit the website or the app to do so, right? So how do you think social commerce is actually getting integrated into the influencer marketing space for e-commerce specifically?
So social marketing is social commerce essentially is going to you know benefit from influencer marketing, and not vice versa. It is see, as I think I mentioned previously, most of our future shoppers are these Gen Zs or late millennials who are super active. They're spending more than 2 hours a day on Instagram and in general on social media. So it's important for us to be present where they are. Now the need to shop is not that latent to us like it is to eat. Like, I mean, it's abysmal, but most people in India would Gen Z specifically, everybody would have a Swiggy, Zomato, even if they're not ordering from it. But not everyone would have e-commerce apps. So how do you create that need is first by getting them hooked on, addicted to the content, and they're already addicted. So that is something that I, as a marketer, do not need to create. That habit is already there. Right. So it's much easier for me as a marketer or as a brand to get into that journey where people are addicted to content, whether it is on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of these platforms. Now we have ShareChat, we have Moj, we have so many Indian native platforms as well. So how do I get into that space? That is what is most critical as a brand.
Right, right. I think also now in the influencer marketing space, something that we are currently witnessing is the regulatory environment really evolving. I mean, influencer marketing typically has been a pretty fragmented and disorganized space. However, that is changing now with the organizations like ASCII coming in, and even the central government is now issuing guidelines for disclosures and all of that. So, in your opinion, are influencers or influencers should they be held accountable for the things they promote and all of that? Like, how important are disclosures and guidelines going to be in the future, as per you?
Both brands and influencers should be accountable for this, because for brands, we are talking about a product or a service that we are offering to the users, and influencers more so because they are using their influence or their clout to get people to believe in something. And the coming generations are much more socially aware. They have I would say they're more conscious than the previous generations. So they believe in authenticity, they believe in being inspired from others, but they're also quick to cancel brands, they're also quick to give up on brands. So I think it is very important to have guidelines in place. As brands, we always look at influencers who are very authentic, like if they are somebody who's saying that they are vegan, and if they are actually showing another routine where they are eating meat, that would not be the best place to actually hire somebody for selling vegan products. So I think that kind of match, somebody in our team or in every team who is working in marketing should put in the effort that as much as your agencies are accountable, you should also manually select the influencers and not just give that chore to somebody else. Somebody else should select. Selection of influencers is very important. As a female, I completely ensure that in most of our campaigns we have a very good mix of hair representation of all textures, skin representation of all textures. So representation is super important, because in India we are not talking of just one skin complexion. If we're talking of beauty as a category, we're talking to people of multiple complexions. I think a lot of these new age brands, Nykaa and Tira Beauty, are doing really well in that space. So yeah, guidelines are important, and I think Meta and both Google are doing a great job in that space in educating. There are programs like Born on Instagram. There are creator guidelines. There are also a lot of free tools for creators too, because a lot of these creators just started for fun, and suddenly they wake up to knowing that they have a million views and this has become their profession. So they've grown up in a life where they were dancing and talking and having fun in the school classrooms, and suddenly they discovered. So if I talk about somebody like Lucky Dancer, who was one of the big hits of TikTok initially, like for these kind of people, I would say that the society and the advertising ecosystem is responsible to educate them. Guidelines will automatically fall into place if you both the advertiser and an influencer and are educated on this.
Right, right. I mean, holistically, it's actually an onus on all the stakeholders, whether it's brand marketers, it's the industry, government boards and authorities. I mean, everybody has to pitch in and actually educate influencers in the first place, because there is still a lot of misinformation out there as to what guidelines actually mean.
And also, like, instead of outdoor ads, most of the brands which initially used to spend say 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs on outdoor ads are now diverting those monies on influencer marketing. So at the end of the day, it is an ad.
Right.
An ad needs to have a sense of legal responsibility of what you're talking to the users.
Yeah.
So if your normal ads are subject to legal scrutiny, same as influencer ads. And the users today, consumer expects authenticity.
Right.
Like something like every series, reality shows are growing in India because, or if say on Netflix or all of these OTT platforms, because consumers expect authenticity.
Right.
More than drama, reality shows are preferred. So overall, generations are now expecting authenticity, and that has to be delivered.
Right. Even audiences are very cognizant of all of this right now. Like, we'll see comment sections wherein if an influencer is promoting a certain product or service, and if they don't have that hashtag ad on them, the audiences are the first one to call them out that, you know what, this is a paid promotion, please disclose it. I think so there is definitely a lot of scrutiny on that, and still the influencer community in India is still trying to reel with that and find their way through it.
I'll give you a very good example. I think a couple of examples. One, I mentioned Dyson, and then there are like Google Pixel does not have any specific one influencer engagement in one part of the year. So what they interestingly do is that they hand over new mobile phones to influencers, and they do have like a meetup. And then throughout the year, throughout their journey, wherever these people go, they're just hashtag Google Pixel Pro Gang, something like that. Say or shot on same is for with Oppo, like shot on Oppo or shot on Vivo or shot on Samsung. I think creating these long-term associations makes the user believe that my influencer whom I'm following is also using this product. So the believability increases, the credibility increases, and of course it's much easier to endorse say a Spotify or things that influencers themselves enjoy. I'll give another example like Komal Pandey and Ole. She has been using Ole for a long period of time, at least in her videos. So it's not explicitly coming across as an ad. So I think that is very important. You choose influencers who are also conscious and understand the responsibility to the ecosystem. That is very important.
And they should also align with your brand messaging and all of that.
So I think their selection of influencer marketing agencies makes a lot more, important relevance. We prefer to, I think, while you always work with empaneled agencies and get, offers and talk to a lot of agencies, it's important to understand how good is the agency team in ensuring getting these communications out.
Right, right. Because they are the ones that are usually in touch with the influencers day in and
Yeah.
day out.
Yes.
So they are probably the first in line to get
Yeah,
that
they are the
communication
first touch
across.
point. They are the
Yeah. So, yeah, piggybacking on that, looking ahead, what do you think are some of the trends or changes maybe that you can see in the influencer marketing space, especially in terms of e-commerce? And what would you recommend are, some things that brand marketers should keep in mind and stay prepared for these changes?
definitely the ecosystem is changing a lot and users want to interact. It's no more a monologue system. That is
Mm-hmm.
something that's very clear. Users enjoy when the brand responds to them on Twitter. User enjoys when we actually talk to them on Instagram. So you'll see Netflix does this very well. A lot of these brands do this very well, and I think I'm a huge fan when it comes to Netflix and social media team. They do this very well, where if there is something interesting, they are engaging with. The Zomato team also does this very well. So if you find points of inflection or cultural, importance points, like for example, if there is, like Rohan Bopanna recently won a Grand Slam. So if you are a brand in that space, whether it be a sports brand, so you need to capitalize on those events. That is super important. I think having more than anything else, I think topicality is something that should not be lost.
Yeah. I think
Second,
it's called moment marketing
yeah,
also
moment
as well.
marketing. I think finding influencers like Tanmay Bhatt who really do this very well. I
Mm-hmm.
think that is important.
Mm-hmm.
Second, of course, is emergence of machine learning and AR. I think most of us now have AR try-ons on our platform. How can you see at the end of the influencer marketing is not just about, especially for e-commerce platforms, we are not selling our own products. We are basically an aggregator platform. So we are more selling experience and service, and we are helping the user to make better choices and easily make those better choices. So using your influencers to help the customer understand how to navigate these complicated apps, I think that is very important. And one of the things that I as a user also understand and benefit from, I think, is I Instagram live, or creating those conversational spaces, intimate conversational spaces, where this Sephora and L'Oreal do very very well, and in India Mintra does this very well. So you create, you repeatedly have events where you are actually getting an experience of shopping, or you're doing like a quick makeup routine with the celebrity, but your users are getting involved, they're asking quick questions. I think those kind of spaces are very very important. I would say, live dialogue spaces, community spaces. And if you're a B2B brand, I would say creating micro communities, that's important. Not like, either it can be on Slack, it can be on Medium, or it could be a Substack group, but getting micro communities going where people can interact, that is very very important. And last but not the least is understanding monetization and authenticity are two very different routes. How to congregate them together, that's most important.
Yeah, definitely agreed. I think with that, we are at the end of the episode, and we usually like to end our episodes with a quick rapid fire round. So, Shivani, are you ready?
I'm very excited. Is it something like Karan Johar's rapid fire?
Yeah, you'll see. Okay, so the first question is, uh, what is the what is your most used social media platform for shopping inspiration?
Instagram. Instagram Reels, actually. Instagram Reels.
Okay. Best impulse buy that you have not regretted?
MacBook.
If you had to pick a fictional character to be an influencer, who would you think would make a really good influencer?
I would say Kramer from Seinfeld.
Nice, interesting.
I think he is what Gen Z wants, talking about sustainability, talking about, but still being very, very authentic and
Mm-hmm.
crappy. And in terms of his ideas, he was very crappy. But I think
Right.
I relate a lot to him. Yeah.
What is your top tip on snagging the best online deals?
Just be active. I think be active on all e-commerce platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Regularly check Cash Karo, Coupon Dunya, all of these bargain platforms specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, I mean, if you have a lot of time, if you're really into deals, then join those Telegram groups. I think Telegram groups is the place where you get the best deals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Your favorite influencer catchphrase or hashtag?
Oh, these days it would be bougie or Riz.
The
Or
Gen Z.
what's actually what is your Roman Empire? I think that's
Ah.
what I'm liking these days.
Mm.
And I've been asking around people a lot of that.
What is your Roman Empire?
Mine, how to get consumers to convert fast. That's what I think most of the time.
Right. Okay. One tip you would like to give to all the budding content creators out there?
Hi, content creators. I think one tip I'll give to you, and I am also an aspiring content creator myself. I would say build a value. You need to understand today's world is highly cluttered. Everyone is bombarded with information. There's too much cognitive overload. How can I create value and ease the burden of my user? So, for example, something find a space where there are not many people talking about it. Something as random as women in finance. They were there in India specifically. Like if we are talking about stock trading, there are a lot of women who are talking about trading in general, Rachna Ranade, but helping only women trade, there are only very very few. So find a niche, something as easy or which you love, which is part of your core life. So having your passion for what you are talking about and building value through that. Second is building a good community where you share this value for free. And for free is very important because you get people to believe in you and share value, and then start dialogues, meaningful dialogues. And if you can afford to, then meet people in person, create those meetups. I think building the offline life is back. People want to meet more people. So if you are a budding content creator, have more meet and greets, to create more opportunities of Instagram lives or Zoom calls where you can meet people and talk about it. And that is bringing all of this, providing value, communicating value, and building value together, where people seek that, okay, this is a person. If I am looking to buy shoes, if I'm looking to buy, I have a knee pain problem, there is this Instagram handle called knee pain aid. I do not go anywhere else. Whenever I have an issue, I always go there. So who is the domain expert and not the influencer of the space. So establish yourself as a domain expert. Wishing you all the best of luck and a great content creation life. All right.
Thank you so much. I think that's going to come in very handy for all our budding creators out there. Thank you so much, Shivani. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You've given us some really nice insights, and I think a lot of marketers, even content creators, will learn a lot from what we just talk about. So thank you so much. How was your experience like? Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I think I love to talk about marketing, and I genuinely am a shopaholic myself. So I'm blessed that I'm in a field where I get to talk about it and get to understand consumers in detail. So this is my life, and I'm loving it.
Great. I think that's the best note that we can end this episode on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me here.
definitely, definitely. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. And with that, it's a wrap. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. Definitely like, share, and subscribe to Kofluence Unplugged. It really means a lot to us, and I promise you it will not take more than 2 seconds of your time. So definitely do that and keep an eye out for all the future episodes. Until then, stay happy, stay kind, and keep Kofluencing. Bye.